Hey guys, how you doing? This is John. Welcome to Gamester81's Kitchen, and in today's episode I'll be stepping you through the process of making Gunlord for the Neo Geo MVS. I'm going to show you the necessary ingredients so you can follow along at home. First main ingredient to make this game is a lot of Contra. This is a classic run and gun shooter for the NES. It's also a port of the classic Konami arcade game. We're going to add a lot of Contra into this ingredient mix here. We're also going to add a lot of Gunstar Heroes. It's a classic, another classic run and gun shooter for this time for the Genesis. So if you're a big fan of this game, Gunlord has a lot of this into it as well. Next, Super Metroid for the Super Nintendo. We're going to add that into the ingredients. And the last ingredient is a little bit, a hint of R-Type. This is for the TurboGrafx 16, so we're going to throw that in the ingredients. We're going to add 2 cups of sugar to make the game super sweet, and a cup of flour to make the game rise above the rest. And we're going to throw it in at 350 for 15 minutes in the oven. Let's see what we get. Okay, the timer just went off. 15 minutes is up. Let's see what we got here. Be careful, it's going to be hot. You're going to let this settle for about 10 minutes. It smells awesome, guys. Let's check what we got. Gunlord for the Neo Geo MVS. Let's take a closer look. Let me show you the game itself, and you can kind of see what it comes with. Now, this is the MVS version, multi-video system version. This is the arcade Neo Geo version. There is an AES, Advanced Entertainment System card that's also available, which is more money than this, but it comes with a nice package, better package design, more the AES style of package. And there's also, they just recently released a Dreamcast version of this game as well for the Dreamcast. So this game is designed and published by NG Dev Team, the NG Dev Team. They're out of Germany, and they've been around since 2001. I'm hesitant to even call this a homebrew because this is like a legitimate game for the system. Not to say homebrews is really a bad term, but they definitely put a lot of time and effort into making these good quality games. They've made other games prior to this. This is one of their games that they came out in 2012. This is their newest game. Nice sticker here. Open this up. These cartridges are always big. Now the difference between this version and the AES version is AES version will look a little bit different. It has a bigger sticker, and the card itself is going to be, the board itself is going to be a lot smaller, so you can't play the AES version on the MVS and vice versa. This version right here costs 319 euros, which is roughly 400 US dollars. I know that's not cheap, it's pretty expensive, but if you're looking at the AES version, you're looking at spend 439 euros or 551 US dollars. Now, probably more practical version for most of you, I'm sure, if you have a Dreamcast, pick up that version. Just recently came out. That's 32 euros or 40 US dollars. So a lot more affordable, I suppose. But this is a really great game, guys, and I wouldn't really necessarily look at this as price, because I think once you play this game, I've put at least 20 hours into this game, and I actually want to play more because the replay value of this is fantastic. There's also a nice hologram sticker saying, if you look at the light catches it right, it says NG Dev Team. Okay. Also included are some stickers, which are really neat. So if you want to slap those on the game, you're welcome to, or if you want, you can see the artwork is awesome. Jump, shoot, explore, Gunlord. Some battles. That's the main boss at the end of the game. That's your character. And the instruction manual as well. Looks like it's in Japanese and English. Controls, how to play it. Different pictures of the artwork here. A lot of time's gone into this game for sure. Now let's take a closer look at the gameplay. I'm playing this on my consoleized MVS system by Analog Interactive, and in order for it to work on the system, I've got to go to the BIOS screen, which I hold A, B, and C upon boot up, and make sure the mode is on console mode. It should work perfect from there. Gunlord isn't necessarily a story-driven game, although there is a brief story at the very beginning. Basically, your main character is called Gordian Gaiden, and he is in prison and guilty of something. Doesn't really explain what, but he wants to save his wife. And so he escapes. He ends up shooting a whole bunch of all these people who have him captured. And the main villain in the game is called Master, Simple Master. But he is taking souls from various people, so you go out and destroy Master. And Master almost looks like Diablo from one of the Diablo games. Gunlord is 90% run and gun shooter. Starts off with a spread weapon, which I actually prefer the best. It's probably the weakest of the 3 primary weapons available, but it covers most ground. And throughout each stage, you can unlock and power up 2 various weapons. Each stage is for the most part very linear, although there are hidden areas in each stage with diamonds you can collect, these gems you collect, and by collecting these gems you actually can unlock additional continues, which is really important because even though this is an MVS Neo Geo game, you can't just add more credits. Unlike most arcade games, you only start with 3 continues and 3 lives, and each life only has 3 hits. My second favorite primary weapon is this plasma blast. It covers the least amount of spread, but it's the most powerful of the 3. The biggest benefit of owning it though is it fires through rocks, so if there's an enemy above you or below you, it's much easier to fire at them than the other 2 primary weapons don't do that. The third primary weapon is this green machine gun, and I absolutely dread this gun. Every time I get it, I get very frustrated. If you tap the gun, the bullets actually bounce off walls and it has a mini spread, which is kind of cool and it's very unique. That's a benefit of it. However, you hold it down, which I tend to do out of habit for the other guns, it has shoots straight ahead and has very, very little spread, and I find myself at a huge disadvantage owning this particular weapon. In addition to the primary weapon, there are 2 secondary weapons available to use strategically throughout Gunlord. The first secondary weapon is called the Super Wave, which is basically a big wave that goes out and destroys most enemies on screen. The disadvantage of using this is it doesn't always kill every enemy every time, and it doesn't work very well with boss battles. The second secondary weapon is called a 360-degree snake laser. It's basically a laser you can move 360 degrees. It goes through walls. You can destroy enemies. There's a bar on the very bottom there that shows you the indicator and as far as how much you can use it. So it's only a limited use, but it recharges automatically while you use it. One of my favorite moves in the game is called a bomb wheel. You press down, hold B, and it reminds me of something straight out of Super Metroid. It will get you access to special areas in each stage, which can be very important. In addition, you can lay bombs and defeat enemies. Throughout each stage, there are extra lives, which is critical in order to continue far in the game. So you always want to explore and find these extra lives. In addition, unlock these special limited weapons. As you see here, this is a laser weapon. It's limited time only. And the disadvantage of this one, even though it's super powerful, you can't shoot diagonally on it either, which is really a huge downfall for it. The second special weapon includes this rocket launcher, which is actually really fun to use because every time it hits a wall, a marble bounces off and it destroys enemies as well. It's a very unique weapon, probably one of the most unique weapons in the whole game. To be honest, Gunlord is a very challenging game. The boss battles are very challenging. There's a pattern to each one. You have to kind of discover each pattern in order to defeat the boss. Some stages have bosses, some stages have 2, some have 1, some stages even have no bosses at all. Stage 2 in Gunlord is one of my favorite stages in the whole game. It's a side-scrolling shooter, very similar to an R-type style game. And in each stage there are diamonds. In this particular stage there are 2 diamonds, as you'll see in the bottom left corner there. When you collect each big diamond, you collect them all, you actually get an extra continue, which is a huge benefit in this game. And the top number in the bottom left corner there shows small diamonds. In this stage there are no small diamonds, but in every other stage there are. Even though Gunlord is very challenging, there's plenty of items along the way to help out, including a shield which will protect the character temporarily. The item right there just will actually refill any lost hit damage. This boss is the first boss on the 3rd stage. It took me literally over 30 tries to defeat this one boss alone, and after I defeated him, the stage is even half over. There's another boss to defeat. On the 4th stage, there's plenty of hidden areas, including this bomb wheel area where you can find plenty of diamonds, including extra life, which is always very, very rewarding to find. Another benefit of the bomb wheel is the ability to fire and attack the enemies, which can be a huge benefit. There is a downside about the bomb wheel. At certain parts of each stage, if you're on a platform and you don't necessarily want to use a bomb wheel, I found that sometimes I actually push B and hold down and I find myself falling off the platform and dying, which can be a huge frustration. Gunlord includes 2 different modes, the original mode, which has no time limit, and the arcade mode, which has a time limit. In order to unlock more time, each diamond you collect is an additional second. In addition, in the arcade mode, every time you die you have to start from the beginning of the stage, so it's much more challenging to play the arcade mode than the original mode. Overall, if you own a Neo Geo MVS or AES, I highly recommend Gunlord. It takes samples from some classic retro games, but it's also unique in itself and is bound to become an instant classic. There's only one thing I don't really like about the gameplay with Gunlord, and that is the bomb wheel. It's cool to use, although at times I find myself dropping enemies, and especially if I'm on a platform, I always fall into a lava pit. I really also wish that there was more side-scrolling shooting elements to the game, similar to Stage 2. That's the only part of this game that's in there. I wish there was more of that in Gunlord, but overall with 9 total stages plus a final boss battle, which makes 10, it takes a while to beat. And I know it's a hard pill to swallow with the price being so expensive, but overall with the replay value and the graphics and the uniqueness of this game, once you play it and give it a shot, it's definitely worth it. Thanks for watching. We'll see you soon. Happy gaming. Take care.